So Justice for Summer Wells here. Update on Summer Wells. So I've been communicating with Mary, the stepsister of Don Wells, and we're sharing a lot of things back and forth with each other. She's a very nice woman and individual. I believe her. Everyone should believe Mary, the stepsister of Don. They are going through they're pressing charges. They're pressing charges on Don Wells for prior sexual conduct in Utah. Utah, come here. I got my cat here, by the way. Maybe my cat will make a grand appearance. Okay, so basically is law enforcement, we think, is going to check the septic tank on the Wells property very, very soon. I don't believe they did it at the first time. I know that they searched the property numerous times, but to what extent? Like, what did you search when you were on the property of the Wells? So it is believed that very soon Hawkins County Sheriffs, TBI, other investigative agencies, they are going to search the septic tank area on the Wells property. I know that they had, at one point, multiple parcels of land that belonged to the Goads, which is Don Wells' stepmother, Goad side of the family. And then they sold off multiple pieces of property over the years. So I don't know how many septic tanks are on the property, but it is believed that law enforcement will be searching for those septic tanks. Hi, everyone, very shortly. So that's an update on the Summer Wells case. Anyone else out there that's following the Kylen, Schulte, Crystal Turner murder case out of Moab, Utah, out of the LaSalle Mountains of Utah, I want to give an update on that just broke through. And the Grand County Utah Sheriffs have just released a statement about that case. And this is significant because I'll touch on some key points here. Number one, Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito are not involved with the murders of Crystal Turner and Kylen Schulte. Number two, no evidence of forcible sexual assault. So we all know that we were hearing once they got murdered up there by that little creek ravine up there in the LaSalle Mountains, right by Whispering Oaks. People were speculating that they were raped and also killed. But they're saying at this time there's no evidence of forcible sexual conduct. Law enforcement spent days processing the site. So there was conflicting reports on the day they were murdered, the day where they were found in late August, that law enforcement was only there for a few hours, packed up. Grand County Sheriffs packed up and left, but they were actually there for multiple days. Persons of interest identified by LE, but no suspect. So that's key too. So the Grand County Sheriffs have a lot of names, but no suspect yet. And please contact LE with tips. So I'm going to read this report by Sheriff Stephen White. We've communicated with Grand County Sheriffs. We were in their office. We talked to Lieutenant Neal. We communicated with Meacham. We never communicated with Sheriff White in particular, but the people below him. We contacted the district attorney of Grand County, which is in the same office as the sheriff building. So we actually spoke with her at one point, probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, who said they were waiting on forensics to come back in reference to that case because, they're the Jimmy Keene Flats up there, up in the mountains, has some cell towers, and they possibly want to get some cell pings coming out of that area to try to identify the suspect or suspects in that murder. But I'm going to read the statement by Sheriff White that was released just a little bit ago. Press release: South Mesa double homicide. On August 18th, 2021, the bodies of Kylen Schulte and Crystal Turner were discovered in an irrigation ditch west of their campsite in South Mesa area of the LaSalle Mountains. This is right by Whispering Oaks. If you Google Whispering Oaks, you'll see it. It's right below there. You can see it within eyesight. I was up there. It's a very vast amount of area. It's on the mountains, a lot of trees, remote. Law enforcement were made aware of the discovery by an acquaintance of the victims who have been searching for them in the area where they were found. The Grand County Sheriffs immediately secured the site and spent the next several days processing the scene. Grand County Sheriff's Office searched the irrigation ditch both before and after draining the ditch by shutting off the water via control valve. Evidence collected from the scene included the victim's tent, personal belongings inside and outside the tent, and their vehicle, blood, shell casings, bullet fragments, and video evidence from nearby properties. Grand County sheriffs have narrowed the victim's date of death to around August 14th, 2021. The state medical examiner immediately conducted a medical exam of both victims and determined the following. 1. Both victims have been shot multiple times. 2. The shell casings and bullet fragments found at the scene were consistent with evidence obtained from the bodies of both victims. And number 3, there was no sign of forcible sexual assault of either victim. In the course of this investigation, there has been considerable conjecture that Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie were somehow involved in the double homicide. Upon investigation, the FBI and Florida investigators have determined, based off electronic transmission evidence, that neither Petito nor Laundrie were involved with this case. The FBI has continued to assist Grand County Sheriff's Office with this investigation, which, with the assistance including video, forensic, and behavioral analysis and general investigative support. The State Bureau of Investigation provided some initial assistance, but has not had an active, ongoing role in this investigation. The Grand County Sheriff's Office is active and ongoing. Grand County Sheriff's Office has a persons of interest, but has not yet identified a suspect. Grand County Sheriffs continue to examine and analyze evidence by utilizing third-party and FBI crime labs. Grand County Sheriffs request the Moab community be careful about sharing information on social media. Such information tends to be misinformed, inaccurate, unhelpful to the criminal investigation, if not dangerous. If you have any information, please contact the Grand County Sheriff's Office at 435-259-8115. This is sent out by Sheriff White. So, they do have they have persons of interest in the Kylen Schulte, Crystal Turner murder case. We were out there, Chronicles of Olivia, Bullhorn Betty. We went out there for a week. In November. We went to the entire Moab community. We talked to co-workers of Kylen Schulte, Crystal Turner, co-workers of both of them. We spoke to the forestry service that regulates the land up there where they were murdered. We actually talked to the acting police chief of Moab about the crime. We talked to the Grand County Sheriff's Office. We had friends that were assisting us and showing us the area, particularly Dell 2000, who's on Twitter. Grateful for him to take us up that mountain because Moab is like 4,000 feet above sea level. Where they were murdered, it was almost like 8,500 feet up. So it was a winding road. It's called the LaSalle Mountain Loop Road. Takes you up around the road, very remote. If it wasn't for Dell, we would have a very difficult time finding the body up there. We talked to Cindy Sue. Cindy Sue was a family friend of Mr. Schulte, Sean Paul Schulte, who found the bodies of Kylen and Crystal on the 18th of August. We sat down and talked to her. She gave us an hour interview, so we spoke to her. We were talking to former friends of theirs. We went to the church, the Baptist church that Crystal Turner and Kylen Schulte were praying at. We were doing a lot of due diligence, and we've uncovered a lot of names, possible creepy guys, suspect guys. We talked to a particular guy who said he was up there at the mountain around the same time and actually heard the gunshots, and it was mind-boggling that the investigators did not talk to him prior. So, we forward the information on to Sean Paul Schulte, PI, Jason Jensen. You guys see him. He's great. Jason Jensen is from Salt Lake City, and he is taking on the case of the Kylen Schulte Crystal murder case pro bono, free for the Schulte family. Bullhorn Betty had both of them on her show a couple weeks ago talking about the case. Just keep bringing awareness, keep their name in the spotlight, keep hashtagging their name. Someone out there knows something, and in particular, they're interested in the 9mm gun that was used at that crime. Like, where did this gun come from? Did anyone steal any guns in the area recently? Anybody buy any of those guns at, local gun stores? Was there burglaries in the area with the gun? So, We are on the Kylen Schulte, there goes my cat, Crystal Turner case. So that's good information that came out. So everyone out there, the Grant County sheriffs have just said and stated, just an hour ago, they released this statement saying that Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie are not involved with this case. And I'll tell you what, it got a lot of national attention based off Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie being in the Moab area right by there at the time, and that's kind of why we jumped onto the case. Honestly, we jumped on the case because, we went in with an open mind at first thinking, well, did Brian Laundrie do this, because he had the incident with Gabby Petito on August 12th at the Arches National Park at the front entrance. Police separated them. Police took Brian Laundrie down to the Bowen Motel, which is 1 block from the Moonflower where Kylen Schulte worked. Was there a connection? Did Brian, Laundrie hook up with Kylen Schulte and Crystal Turner at Woody's Bar on August 13th, the day later? That's what we went in with an open mind, but we found no really connection between Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito. I know that some friends of Crystal Turner at the McDonald's that she worked at told us that Crystal and Kylen actually saw the fight between Brian Laundrie and Gabby outside the Moonflower, before that, the police got involved. So they actually witnessed the fight there. So, but there was, we couldn't pinpoint, Brian Laundrie's whereabouts from August, 13th all the way up to the 17th, because you guys remember with the Brian Laundrie case, Brian Laundrie was out in Salt Lake City, flew home on the 17th back to Florida, and then flew back to Salt Lake City, a few days later, hooked back up with Gabby and went back up into Wyoming where Gabby's body was found. But they released it. They released basically saying that they worked with Florida investigators and they found no evidence of any connection between Brian Laundrie, Gabby Petito, with Crystal Turner and Kylen Schulte's murder. I mean, and they said based off electronic transmission device evidence. So there's no connection there. So rumor mill. We can pretty much put it to bed at this time. You want to put trust in our law enforcement when they give out the information. They're saying that there's no evidence between them. So now the question is, who murdered Kylen Schulte, Crystal Turner? Who murdered them? Because their murder remains unsolved, and we vowed to the family of both sides. Crystal Turner's family from Arkansas, Kylen Schulte's family from Montana. We've communicated with both sides of the family. Very nice people. They just want answers. They want answers, and they don't want the case to go cold. And, hopefully there'll be some open transparency where law enforcement, like they released today, a statement. They released a statement today, at least giving some updates, at least giving some sort of information about this case, because we haven't heard nothing for a while. Now, we spoke to the Grant County Sheriff, or the Grant County's District Attorney's Office a little bit around before Christmas, and she emphasized that to us at the time that they have not gotten back the digital forensic evidence from the cell phone towers. That's going to prove a lot. When that comes back, I don't know. You would think that would come back, quickly, because the murders now have been August, September, October, November, December, January, 5 months now. 5 months since these two females got murdered. And I'll tell you, it was remote, and it was crazy. And let me tell you something about the difference between Moab and Beach Creek up where Summer Wells is. Like a lot of people told me, hey, be careful in Moab because it's like the Wild West, and it literally is the Wild West up there. There's a lot of red rock up there. It's people with cowboy hats and stuff like that. It was bad. As far as, kind of like me having being worried. But once I went out there, it was cool, like everyone was welcoming in the community. I felt at ease downtown or whatnot. And then the same thing with, Summer Wells. Everybody's saying, oh, be careful when you go up to, Beach Creek and Rogersville. Those locals, they don't play up there. They're dangerous. They'll come out with a shotgun. We didn't have no problems. We didn't encounter anything negative with anybody. One neighbor yelling it a couple times, but that doesn't mean we felt like we were in imminent threat or danger. But everyone in the Rogersville community was welcoming. So, we don't go by rumors. We go firsthand to see. And both those places, Rogersville, Tennessee, Hawkins County, Tennessee, and Moab, Utah, they were both we felt at ease. We felt at safe, and the majority, 99.9% of the community, were very nice and welcoming to us. So that's an update on the Kylen Schulte case. Summer wells, like I said earlier, for people just jumping on, search that septic tank or the well, because we've seen zero evidence that summer wells came off that property. As we all know, that the authorities, Hawkins County Sheriff and TBI, have said zero evidence of a kidnapping or abduction. But, Don Wells and Candace Well are very adamant about an abduction, but there's zero evidence that she went off the property. I'm telling you, being there firsthand, seeing how high that mountain is, that big hill, that 11 acres of land, that busy road on 347 Beach Creek and the Ben Hill. I doubt somebody was just sitting there parked on the street and said, hey, we're going to go up the hill, up this very, very steep hill, and just coincidentally wait for Summer Wells to be inside the house, where Candace turned her back, or Candace, went outside to plant or whatever for 2 minutes, and just suddenly snatch Summer and then bring her down unnoticed with a bunch of dogs up there, a bunch of dogs down there at the corner of Beach Creek and Ben Hill, because the neighbor there outside there, their mailbox says the Wards, they don't, they got a bunch of dogs. They got a bunch of dogs there, and even driving by, the dogs start going nuts. Woof, 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 crazy. Every time a car goes by, and we've seen it firsthand. So I doubt all that happened. The laws of physics just not make sense that Summer Wells was kidnapped. I've always suspected that Candace did something with Summer and maybe, took her down the road, down their hill, and instead of going on to Beach Creek, go in back of Ben Hill Road and jot in the back with her truck and dump Summer Wells somewhere back there in the holler. It's called a holler. It's, going into the mountain, because Ben Hill Road goes back there for about a mile. There's a road there, first turn, called Simpson. But that just goes, like a quarter of a mile and then goes to a dead end. But if you keep going down in the back of Ben Hill Road, you go past Fred Hill's house, you go past a couple big barns, and then you go to this back house back there, and it has some goats back there, and a house right there, and then it turns into like a dirt road, and then it goes right into the mountain. I mean, was Candace Wells seen back there? One of the problems I think law enforcement is having with the situation there is cell phone reception. It is very bad. I have Verizon, and I only had a half a bar. Like, you couldn't really call out there. No internet service. So did they have a difficult time trying to ping phones or whatnot? And even if Candace left her house temporarily to dispose of Summer temporarily, I'm sure she didn't take her cell phone with her, And it's not many people back there, not many witnesses. There's only a few houses there, and I'm sure they don't see what's going on at all times. I mean, they probably do now. They're probably vigilant now because a lot of people like us and outsiders are coming in, seeing what's going on in the search. We spoke to the neighbors. We spoke to all the neighbors of the Wells, almost every single one of them except Andy and Jody Sue that lives across from them, across the road. We haven't spoken to them, but like almost every other neighbor in that general area we have spoken to. The one at the corner of Beach Creek and Ben Hill, the Overbay, the Lonnie Overbay, the guy that came out and confronted us and told us to get out. He didn't know what to expect. He had guns in his car. He came out, saying, y'all got to leave because the people I was with some bullhorns and they were yelling at Candace and Don. But then the guy came at ease knowing that, hey, we were just trying to find Summer. And he actually talked to us, and said, that neighbor believes Don Wells is guilty. He said, let the TBI and law enforcement do their job. Ronnie Lawson was getting a bunch of tips. So, we respected him and we left, and we shook hands and left on a good note, whatever. Spoke to two other neighbors and by their cars. I posted the videos on my YouTube channel. Check the channel. Neighbors, they live there. They don't want to talk. They don't want to say, it's interesting. I think they fear for their lives in a sense of they don't want to say so much about Don and Candace Wells because they have to live there, But they all know Don and Wells is guilty. We haven't spoken to one person in that area, and we've spoken to at least 100 people in the community everywhere that think Don and Candace Wells are innocent, or even say that they're good people. The church people, even the church people at the Solomon Temple down the road where Don and Candace Wells and Summer Wells have been there before, to the food pantry and to pray before, they basically saying that they don't want to talk bad about them. They kept their mouth shut, because I guess that's not a godly thing to do, whatever. But that's that makes you think, who is defending the Wells in the community? Who is defending Don and Candace Wells in the Beach Creek community? And I don't see anybody. I don't see anybody. Maybe some of those people originally at that Seventh Adventist church, but you remember, people, that Seventh Day Adventist church in Kingsport that Don and Candace Wells were going to, and you saw that photo of Don or Candace Wells passed out on the front pew, just zoned out or whatever like that. That pastor there, David Ryder, has denounced the Wells, and they're not allowed back at that church, and they haven't been back at that church. So, and basically, David Dotson, David Dotson was the gentleman that was seen with the Wells boys right after Don and, right after Summer went missing, taking the boys to golfing or whatnot. Even he denounced the Wells. He distanced himself from the Wells. We don't know where he is. We're trying to find him. We're trying to secure an interview with him. Whoa, you see my cat? My cat just can't by. We're trying to secure an interview with him. So, these are things. We're still on the Wells case. We're on the Kylen Schulte, Crystal Turner case. Still finding out if Gabby Petito's, if Brian Laundrie's parents are going to be charged, because the feds still have an open investigation with that case too. That case is not closed. Posted a video recently. We went down to Northport again. It was interesting about Brian Laundrie's father. We pulled up in front of his house. As we were pulling up in front of the Laundrie house, Christopher Laundrie was pulling out in his red truck. So we began to follow him, and we turned on a street, and then he pulled over and saw somebody behind him, and then he put out his hand and told us to wave us through. As we were turning to the left, I rolled down my window. What happened to Brian? Are you involved or whatnot? He rolls up the window. He starts huffing and puffing, and he takes off. We follow him a little bit, and then he stops and goes into someone else's yard with his truck and pulls into someone's yard backwards and zooms off. And he races to the police department and whatever like that. We follow him, and he's riding down the street irate, going backwards on a one-way street. So it was a very bizarre incident. It happened about maybe like a month ago at the beginning of December. I don't know if I might have posted the video, might have not. But anyway, so these are the updates. Kylen Schulte and Crystal Turner are going to continue to hashtag their names, continue to put it out. Their murders are going to be solved. I have confidence in those murders are going to be solved, and I have confidence that the conclusion of Summer Wells will be solved soon. Hoping and pray, fingers crossed, that law enforcement checks the septic tanks, checks the wells, maybe separates Don and Candace Wells from each other so they can tell on each other. Don has a court hearing coming up for his DUI and his probation violation. Spoke to his district attorney about that case. We were going to go to that case, and we still might. But the district attorney was telling us that, due to COVID, they're only allowing certain people into that courtroom, particularly only the defendants. Not even the defendants' families are allowed in sometimes, but sometimes they are. It just depends. And it's called a sessions court. It's sessions court is for misdemeanors. He does have a misdemeanor case. And, the district attorney emphasized that, said, it's a misdemeanor case. Probably not going to get much jail time, if at all. Maybe the judge, in reference to his probation violation, can sentence him to a year in jail for the back time of his probation. But most likely he'll probably get maybe like a few weeks in jail and then a reinstatement of his probation to start all over again or continue it or whatnot. If Don Wells demonstrates that, he's an upstanding citizen, so we'll see what happens there. But he has court there. Obviously, if he goes to jail, then Candace is left alone with grandma, and who knows what she'll do. Will she be promiscuous again and allow men to come up to her property while Don Wells is in jail? Will Don turn on her to avoid jail time? Will there be cracks in that foundation there, the Wells Foundation? So a lot of unanswered questions. I'm on it. Going to do live more. People tell me to come on live more and chat and talk and share about the case, but we are working hard behind the scenes. I'm constantly posting videos and constantly provoking thought and constantly trying to keep their names in the spotlight to get answers, because I genuinely care. I genuinely care for Summer Wells. I want justice for Summer Wells. I want, closure, not for the Wells, not for Don and Candace. Don't want closure for them, because I don't think, I think they don't deserve any closure, whatnot, because, hopefully no kids are ever in their possession again. Those three boys, hopefully those three boys that were taken from them from Hawkins County Department of Child Services are in, they're in better hands. They're in a better environment, better loving people, opposed to what was going on at that house. Hopefully those three boys never go back to the Wells house again. Candace Wells, every child that Candace Wells had has been taken away from her. So she's not a good mother. She's not fit. And obviously Summer Wells is missing. So there you go, guys. Take care. Keep informed. Subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to grow it a little bit, trying to be open and transparent of what we're doing. I do work with Bullhorn Betty, Molly Golightly, Chronicles of Olivia. I do collaboration work with them, but I am also my own entity. I do my own stuff my own way. Don't get involved with YouTube drama. Don't make videos about other YouTubers. I can care less. I'm only focused on the subject matter, and the subject matter on certain national profile cases, people that are in the spotlight. That's what it's about. But thanks for everyone for listening, and God bless. And let's bring Summer home. Let's get justice for Kylen Schulte and Crystal Turner, and justice for Gabby Petito too. Gabby Petito, that's a tragedy itself. That hit close to home. It was very close to me. I was proud to be able to stand in front of the Laundrie home for like a month straight, doing my activism and going out there and searching, looking for Brian to bring him to justice. We were out there in the Carlton Reserve and the Big Slow Preserve, all over the place down there, and it was hot. It was hot at the time. It was September, October. It was 100 degrees almost every day. The sun was kicking in. A lot of people were very nice and sending us, food when we were out there, in front of the house, watching the Laundrie's moves and whatnot. So really appreciate it. Really appreciate this support. Block out the haters. That's all I do. I don't respond to haters. I just block them out, block them, whatever. I'll go back on these videos. Any idiots, I'll just block. Keep it moving. Justice for Summer Wells. God bless. Everyone stay safe. See you soon, everyone. See you soon. Bye.